you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet.
Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Hey, how are we doing out there all across this great land of ours and around the world? It is that time. Time for the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with my co-host, Joe Hakos. We're glad to have you with us this Friday afternoon. I don't know how the weather is where you're at, but it's pretty nice out here. A little hazy, but nice and cool. And perfect Friday. Perfect Friday, another perfect day in a not-so-perfect world, but better than most. That's how I describe America. Yeah, we're not perfect. We're better than most, if not the best, regardless of what's going on out there. I wouldn't trade where I'm at right now for any place else in the world because it's not too much better anywhere else in the world as far as I can tell. So anyway, glad to have you with us this afternoon. How are you doing tonight, Joe?
John, I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing better than this guy that was in Yellowstone Park, National Park. I'm looking at this. This is his News of the Weird, and this is what do you call it? Darwin Award winners just being thinned out. This happened. This is a couple days ago. This report: man was presumed dead after falling to a hot spring at Yellowstone National Park Tuesday. Witnesses saw a man in his early 20s walk off the boardwalk in Norris Geyser Basin area, fall into a thermal spring about 225 yards away. Rangers said the man is probably dead because he hasn't been located, and searchers are being extra cautious because of the spring's dangerous thermal features.
Wow.
This Norris Geyser Basin is the hottest and most dynamic thermal area in Yellowstone. Features springs that reach temperatures of up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow, that's like going to returning the ring back to Mordor.
It's like, holy crap! What a way to die.
Yeah.
Well, he did it on his own. They have areas where you're supposed to just walk in it.
Right.
I'm sure they say don't leave the boardwalk, don't venture off. But which doesn't help, which doesn't stop some people because. It says this search comes on the heels of several other high-profile incidences at the park. Last weekend, a 13-year-old boy was burned around the ankle and foot after his father had been carried and slipped into the park's upper Geyser Basin hot spring. And then in May last month, a Canadian crew was accused of leaving the established boardwalk, stepping into a geothermal feature where they snapped photos of and took video of themselves, and then. Also last month, another Canadian man loaded a bison calf into his SUV because he thought it was cold. Yeah, and then later said the calf later had to be euthanized because it couldn't be reunited with his herd.
Well, I'm thinking, I there's like 20 different directions I can go with this in terms of just utter stupidity of people. I guess that's why you see on commercials. When you see stunt drivers driving a Toyota over the side of a 20-foot cliff, in an off-road thing, and you see the little thing underneath that says, do not do this at home.
Yeah, don't attempt to do this.
Don't attempt this at home.
Professional driver are in closed course.
Yeah. And now I wonder if somebody's going to sue Yellowstone Park because the geyser's too hot.
yeah. Okay. And there's like April. Park officials warned people against approaching wildlife. Okay, approaching wildlife is the key phrase here, okay? In the park after a woman was caught on video petting a bison. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. That's like going out to the what's it? They have a thing out here, an exhibition out here.
They have them here to, hey, look, let's wrestle alligators. That kind of stuff. It's like,
well, we've seen that too. I remember seeing a story just a few months ago about a guy who was at a golf course, and one of these crocodiles or alligators had come in from the outside and got into the golf course, and the man is out there actually single-handedly trying to catch this animal because he needed to get into the lake to get his golf ball.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I mean, this guy's dead because he ventured off into a geothermal hot spring at 200 some degrees, and it's just not hot water. It's got, there's acids and everything else in this water. I mean, this stuff is just nasty.
Yeah, really. And I'm sitting there looking at the picture, and you can see, I don't know what all the white stuff is there, but it's got to be the chemicals and everything coming out of the geyser.
Yeah, it's like, holy crap. I'm like, I feel for the guy's family and that, but it's kind of like, hello. It's like the lady petting the bison. Hello.
Yeah.
You gonna open up the lion's mouth and put your head in it and have somebody snap the picture?
Well, you got to wonder if this is the makeup of the present day economic wacko or the environmentalist wackos. Okay, think about this. These are the people that would walk up to the polar bear and try to pet the polar bear because it's so cute and fuzzy.
So cute and cuddly and yummy.
Yeah, and they're endangered. They're an endangered species. And geez, the ones we see on the Coke cans are pretty cool, And the ones we see in the Disney cartoons are even funnier and fuzzier. Let me go up and pet one as they ripped your face off for dinner.
We're talking about the gators. There was a guy that was sneaking around somebody's house, and they had one of these little lakes behind them, and his girlfriend, he was on the phone with him, and then she said it went dead and everything else, and then no one could get a hold of him. They found him later. He had been eaten by a gator.
Wow. I just read a story day before yesterday. I don't know if it's the same one you're talking about. They found an alligator out there somewhere, and he had consumed a human. They found a human body inside of it, but they don't know. They're trying to determine whose body it was.
Yeah. They're let me go to the keywords here again. Approaching wildlife. These are wild animals. These are not the furry little pets or anything. Even the stuff in the zoo, they're wild animals.
Right. And you know what that's from? That's from the car commercial. Have you seen the car commercial where the guy takes his son out to the middle of a bison pack? He's trying to impress his son, and he's taking.
Yeah. I've seen that commercial.
Yeah, and the very last scene is this bison pressing its face up against the side of this window, and everybody's oohing and on.
But we're getting out of the car to pet the darn thing.
Yeah, right.
For crying out loud! I mean,
well, it looked like the bison was big enough; he could have overturned the car. It was one of those little I call them Obama cars.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, hello, these things aren't. Hey, they're like the great white buffalo. These are huge animals. They're not. We're not talking little baby calves.
Yeah.
Even this calf this guy put into his freaking SUV was probably a huge animal.
Yeah. Just amazing. It is amazing, and it does reflect on. Maybe that's why we can. That's why we look at today's electoral environment, and we understand why people will vote for people like Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, for that matter.
Yeah, well, Hillary even worse. I mean, Trump, at least all Trump's done is call people names. Clinton's actually been criminal and put people in danger.
Yeah, in fact, did you watch Trump's speech today at the Faith and Freedom Foundation?
No, I had to do this thing called work. Oh,
that's right. You still have to do that. I'm sorry. I watched it. In fact, we'll comment when we get back from the break here about it a little bit. I was kind of surprised. Trump really sounded, I'm not going to say presidential, but let's just say less of a trumpist,
Okay, Cool. All right, let's talk about it later then.
Yeah, we got to go to break right now. When we come back, we'll continue right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We got a lot for you today.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by CitizensUnited.org.
Davies, along with Joe Hickles, my co-host, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. Now, I want to kind of get some of the minor stuff that's going on out there right now out of the way, and because what we do want to do, probably we'll get into it the second hour, is finish our commentary on what we deem to be the upcoming Obama third term, should Hillary Clinton make it all the way to the White House. And we started yesterday by offering commentary on Obama's economic speech given in Eckhart, Indiana last week at Concord Community High School. And we just ran out of time yesterday, and we're going to devote some more time to that. Probably won't get to it to the second hour, though. We have Bob Cardoso from Robert Cardoso coming up live at the bottom of the hour here. And we'll see what's on Bob's plate, what's hot for him. But I got a couple things here. First off, I really wasn't going to mention this. But as I sit there, I thought, I don't know, maybe I need to stop looking at the internet during breaks. But this big deal that's being made about Muhammad Ali, I have some really mixed feelings about this.
Yeah.
For one, the guy is an icon for sure. Many consider him to be perhaps the best boxer in the history of boxing. Some people think he's a nice guy. He got mellow when he got Parkinson's disease or whatever it is he had. I think it was Parkinson's disease. And as he, evolved, or as he became more and more ill, you could see the sensitizing of the American public towards him. I think it probably peaked back when he was one of the torchbearers at one of the Olympics or something like that.
Atlanta. It was in Atlanta.
Yeah, and I'm all for people, wanting to honor their sports idols and everything else. But, let's put things in context here, okay? We're talking about a man that made his money beating the hell out of other people, okay? I don't know how you construe that into something good, unless, of course, you were betting on him and you made money off of it. Okay, I'm sure the people that promoted him and everything else, they made a lot of money off this guy. But I'll tell you the thing that just irritates the thing of honoring people like this. We're talking about a man who refused to serve in the military, and to me that is the ultimate sin. That's why I have such disdain for people like Bill Clinton. It's not just their socialistic slants. It's not just their ability to lie, spin, and deceive. These are people that make decisions on military matters and national security matters who didn't have the balls to get up and serve in the military. I'm one of these people, and I've said it before. I don't think anybody should be able to run for president if you have not served in the military. I don't see how anybody could be a commander-in-chief who does not understand what it means to sacrifice your life, put your life on the line for the cause of freedom and to defend the Constitution of the United States. I'm sorry, you can watch all the videos you want and you can play all the war games you want. That doesn't put any context to it. But I've never respected Cassius Clay's objection to serving in the military. And the reason, not just that, but the fact that he turned it into a racial issue on top of that. He didn't serve because he thought there were too many black men being killed for the United States of America. And so he refused to do it. Now, I understand the noble idea of saying, well, I don't want to go out and kill anybody. Nobody wants to do that unless you're psycho. Okay, but that, you go back and play some of the, I would like to see somebody play some clips about this guy and when the press conferences that he had when he refused to serve in the military. Now, he did some jail time for it, which means in the liberal world, that means you're exonerated of any responsibility of what you do. But that really always bothered me, that this guy is just thinking it was a racial reason. In fact, he converted to Islam shortly after that. And I don't have respect for people like this. And you got all these people, all these public figures out there today at his funeral talking about what a great human being he is and, what a great man he is. And all I can say is the man was not a Christian. He's probably burning in hell right now. And if you don't like that, that's too bad. And rightfully so. That's how I feel about it. I feel very strongly about people like this. What, you got any thoughts, Joe?
I stayed away from it because, well, for one, everything becomes politicized and it turns into this racial thing. And it's like, all right, the guy was a boxer. He was an advocate for Parkinson's research because of what happened. And I think part of what happened was because of his profession. Mm-hmm. I believe George Foreman beat the crap out of him and drove him into made his brain freaking mush.
Yeah.
But
then you got to ask questions. Well, what happened to Michael J. Fox?
Well, yeah. I mean, so the guy did that, but the other stuff before, when he's Cassius Clay and all the other stuff, yeah, I didn't quite groove into any of that stuff.
Yeah, I guess my thing is, my pet peeve, one of my pet peeves, I have many, is the idea of how people reach this iconic stage where all fallibility of humanity just ceases to exist. And that is the very premise of liberal thinking. The very idea that we can create a utopia that free of all prejudice, of all hatred, of all greed, and that we can just join hands, sing Kumbaya, and just regal at the sunset every night and awaken every morning to a bright day at the sunrise and all that other stuff. I'm all for positive thinking, but the very premise of this is that liberals want to, in their mind, eliminate or remove anything that makes us human, anything that identifies us as fallible creatures who can make bad decisions, who can make good decisions, and can be responsible and accountable for whatever those decisions are. So anyway, that kind of stuff just gets me. We're never going to have a perfect world this side of heaven. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. And I don't care if we had the perfect candidate in the White House, it wouldn't make any difference. If we had congressional people that are out there every day doing what they promised their constituents they were going to do, we still would not have a perfect world. We're never going to have that. And so when these kind of things, when I see things on TV, somebody gets killed in a car accident or something like that, yeah, tragic stuff to learn. Wake up in the morning out here in L.A., news every morning is a list of everybody that died last night. It's either car crashes or shootings or domestic disputes, that kind of stuff. And everybody's out putting flowers someplace, hanging flowers on a fence or whatever. We have them all over here in Norwalk because we have gangs here in Norwalk. And you go driving down the street and you'll see some conglomeration of flowers, balloons, and candles on some street corner where somebody got gunned down last night. And I'm like, what does that do? I mean, it consoles, I guess, the people that are affected by it. But is that all? I mean, I was watching a thing the other night. There was a movie, I guess I made. I don't even know what the name of the movie was. I watched about 20 minutes of it. That was made about the death of Princess Diana.
Yeah.
Okay, and the movie was more about how England responded to the Queen rather than Princess Diana. And the Queen is out there looking at all the flowers. She shows up at the monument and everything else, and people putting their flowers out. Miles and miles of teddy bears and flowers and balloons and stuff like that. And she's walking down and she's reading the notes. And some of the things that people put on there was the Queen. They were blaming the Queen for her death.
Oh, jeez.
They didn't deserve you. The Queen has blood on her hands and stuff like that. I'm like, what a terrible thing to say to anybody. I'm sure Queen Elizabeth had nothing to do with what was going on between her and Charles.
Well, unless they do have blood on their hands like Hillary Clinton does.
Right. And you don't see anybody out there making these big monuments for the 4 Americans that died over in Benghazi. I didn't see any of that.
No, but we're going to bring them to justice. She said we're going to bring these people to justice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember seeing the news cover monumental events where hundreds and thousands of people were gathering together and putting flowers down in front of the embassy or anything like that. But Prince dies of a drug overdose, and you would think the world's coming to an end. It's ludicrous how we have allowed celebrity to become the gauge and the gauge of morality when none of these people are moral, for crying out loud.
That's where they've taken over the culture.
Yeah, and that's why we can have things like polls that come out, like the one that came out today at Fox News, showing that Donald Trump has lost about 6 points I guess the last time they had a news poll at Fox, Trump was beating Hillary. Now he's down by 6 points. Now that in and of itself, we could talk about that till the cows come home. What's the cause and effect of that? But here's the deal. Hillary Clinton is rated more favorable than Donald Trump, even though 57% of these people polled believe that she lied about her emails, that she compromised national security, and they still think she's a viable person.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe. I really do.
Yeah, I poured over this thing because every time I see something like this, I'm going, what the hell? What the hell are people thinking that you would say, okay, the worst thing you can say about Donald Trump at this point in time is he's got a big mouth. All right, so what?
I mean, the stuff that the Clintons have going on, I mean, we want to go back 40 years, 50 years ago. I mean, just go back in time. All the stuff that they've done. They leave the White House broke, and all of a sudden they're worth $200 million. And how did they get this money? They ripped off people in Haiti. I mean, for crying out loud, these people are just criminals. And yet Donald Trump says something bad about a guy in Indiana and some judge. So Donald Trump has a big mouth, but yet he can't be president. We're going to have, why? Because the vagina is talking, and we must have her.
Yeah. We're back to the vagina monologues here. Let me point this out. I've been talking about celebrity. I'm talking about the idea that celebrity trumps everything else. You can be the biggest loser in the world, but if you made some movies that some people like, or you wrote a song that some people like, or whatever, you're like up there. You're just next to Jesus. Okay, now look at this. The question, I want to read you this one question here. We got a couple of minutes here before the break. Hillary Clinton's favorability is 14 points underwater, 42 to 56, meaning 42 find her favorable, 56 don't. Donald Trump is several points worse. 40 favorable, 58 unfavorable. Okay, now listen to the poll question here and tell me what this has to do with electing somebody competent for an office. Do you think, and you insert the name, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, is likable enough to serve effectively as president?
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm like, what kind of freaking poll is this? Really?
Yeah.
Do you think they could freaking do the job well enough and keep you and your family and your nation safe? How's that?
Yeah, but are you likable enough to serve as president? No
I
wonder.
Don't like any of my politicians or government officials. They're not there to be liked.
No. What does that have to do with anything? Why? Because that's the celebrity concept. The celebrity is, do we like you? Not, are you competent? It's, do you like to? And how is the American public liking you going to affect your job or your ability to be effective as a leader? I don't have to, my people I've worked for that I have not liked, I have found very qualified to do what it is they do. They're business owners. They're a step ahead of me. They're a step above me. I may not like the way they do things, but they've been able to do something that I've never been able to pull off to a great degree. I've tried to run a couple businesses, and I've not been that great at that because I don't have the natural aptitude for it.
We should talk about this after the break.
Some
of these questions, I'm looking at these questions here. We should talk about them after the break because we got to do the break now.
All right. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got. Nature's Youth, and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook, and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get the Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
And welcome back. You're listening to to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we have with us doing his weekly contribution, Bob Cardoso from Robert Cardoso Live. How are you doing tonight, Bob?
Hey, doing good, John. Thank you very much for asking. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're just doing great. Yeah, we've missed having you around a little bit. Glad to see you back.
Thank you.
All right. We were talking just before the break here. I hope we can include you in here without bringing you in from the dark kind of thing. We're talking about this, the latest Fox poll that has come out, and some of the, I don't know, I guess idiosyncrasies behind it. And this is telling us that I guess Donald Trump has dropped back below favorability ratings compared to Hillary Clinton. The last poll that they had, they showed Donald Trump ahead of her, but he's dropped to 6 points underneath her now. And we were talking about, among the things here, one of the things that we found just really interesting about the poll is that even though people think that Hillary would make a better president than Donald Trump, more favorability and all that other kind of stuff, 57% of those people polled believe that she broke the law with her email servers and that she compromised classified information. But the wording of the poll itself, do you think, and then they name the candidate, is likable enough to serve effectively as president? We're trying to figure out, what does likability have to do with being able to serve as president? What's your thoughts?
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, I don't think likability has anything to do with serving for president. You have to have a leader that sometimes has to make decisions that are contrary to what the majority of people may or may not want in this country, because they have information and insights that we don't have. On the other hand, I think that when you look at the polls and the things that are going on with Donald Trump, he's his own worst enemy right now. He's alienating all of his supporters, and well, not all of them, actually. The truth is, the latest polls come out and say that 1 in 4 Republicans do not have a problem with the positions that Donald Trump has taken with regard to what some people are saying are racist comments and positions. The truth is that, you know what, I think he's caught between a rock and a hard place. He's gotten kind of confused with what's a national issue and what's a local issue just for himself. I think that we've got a long way to go before we get to November, and a lot of things are going to happen here. But he's doing everything on his own to kill his own favorability, and that's what's really helping Hillary Clinton right now.
Yeah, well, we talked about that earlier in the week, about the fact that especially this deal with Trump University, trying to bring his civil court case into the public arena, the court of public opinion, really doesn't have any bearing on anything to do with his presidential stature or anything else, because I think most of us would agree the guy's a businessman. Yeah. He's relatively successful. He's had some failed businesses. Who hasn't? You know what? Businesses were created to make a profit, and entrepreneurs take risks to accomplish that end. And the truth is that whether they talk about Donald Trump having had a number of bankruptcies, which personally he has not had, they've all been business bankruptcies, or whether they talk about his hard negotiations with the bank, or the fact as a businessman he saw an opportunity at the housing bubble. You know what? If other people had the ability, they either did it and kept their mouths shut, or they didn't have the ability to do it, and so they're jealous of what's actually happened here. Well, I think one of the big points that nobody has brought up, Donald Trump may have made a bunch of money off of the housing bubble and the subprime loan scandal and everything else, but Bill Clinton is the one that orchestrated it. He made a ton of money off of it too. Nobody even talks about that. Yeah, absolutely. And so, I don't have any problem with all of that in the history. The guy's a businessman, and he's obviously a good businessman. People talk about, well, he had this windfall from his dad. Well, that's not true. His dad loaned him $1 million. But he turned the million into $11 billion. That makes him a pretty doggone good businessman. Yeah, that's pretty good return on investment. Now, but getting back to the point of celebrity here, because we were talking about the effect of celebrity over qualifications, and that's what we deal with in the public today. We were just commenting earlier about Muhammad Ali's funeral, the celebrity of the man over what this man, in my opinion, really represented, which I'm not going to go into again. But I didn't have a whole lot of respect for a man that refused to serve in the military. And,
I have a different position. I don't want to get into that either. But the thing is about Donald Trump, when you talk about celebrity, the truth is there's all kinds of different kinds of celebrity. And if you do not have some form of celebrity, which is nothing more than recognition, then you get nowhere, not only in your chosen field, but you get nowhere in the world, and you certainly get nowhere in politics, because if you're not recognized or your name is not recognized, you're going nowhere.
Well, I get that, but the idea of using that as the basis of a poll question as to the ability or skills or qualifications of a person, are they likable enough to be an effective president?
Well, you know what? The thing is a lot of people like me, but I wouldn't be a good president.
Why not? You're very likable.
It's the thing is that you can't pick somebody who is just likable. This is not a mutual admiration society. This is a really serious endeavor to try and get our country on the right stand. And it doesn't take somebody who's winning a popularity contest. It takes somebody who's smart, who's willing to buck the system, who's willing to do the necessary things to fix what's wrong in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, and that's why we sit here today looking at the current president. And what you find is the media plays up the favorability polls rather than his job performance polls. And he sits, he's still sitting at a 50% favorability poll. People still think he's cool. But then you get into his job effectiveness and what he's done, and those numbers drop significantly. But
wait until Medicare or Obamacare rates start moving up, and people have to dip into their wallets. Let's see how favorable his rates are going to be then.
Yeah, and we had Hillary Clinton out there today just telling us just how good Obamacare is. So maybe this will come back and bite her. But I want to just read a couple of these numbers here in this poll and get your take on this. Qualified to be president, Hillary was plus 39, Trump was minus 5. Integrity to be president, Hillary was negative 10, Trump was negative 20. Hillary's being investigated for criminal charges, among them espionage and corruption. What is Trump guilty of? Ragging on a judge that's handling a case of his. But yet they think she has more integrity than he does. Knowledge to be president, Hillary's up 44, Trump is down 21. Knowledge to be president? Knowledge to be what? Temperament to be president. Hillary is up 22, Trump is down 39. I mean, you look at these numbers and people are gauging. This is coming from the people that are going to be voting, for crying out loud. They think Hillary Clinton has integrity?
Yeah, the problem with this is that those polls, I really believe that those polls are inside controlled. I don't think that they're objective polls. I don't think they really give you a true picture of what's going on. Truth is, I don't want an angel in the White House. So, I want somebody there that recognizes a crook when he sees one. And that I'm not saying that Donald Trump is a crook, and I'm not saying that Hillary Clinton is a crook. However, we kind of know that, right?
I'm saying.
But the thing is, I don't think those polls hold any weight at all. I think that what's going to wind up happening is you've got to look at what is going on in the country today, what's going on in Washington D.C. today, and you've got to say to yourself, "My God, can we handle another 4 or 8 years of the same thing?" I don't think so. What was Poppy Bush used to say, or was it Ronald Reagan, who said, are you doing better today than you were before the previous president?
Right.
Or is your life better now than it was before? Well, hell, I don't think any one of us can say, yes, it is.
Well, we listened to Barack Obama tell us last week, everything is better since he's been president. All you have to do is,
I've got a bridge to sell you. Out of Arizona.
I guess it comes down to all you have to do is ask the right person the right question to get the right answer.
Well, you know what? If instead of asking these weird framed questions, these pollsters frame these questions in order to get a certain result, because the pollsters, they're getting paid for these polls. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, and so they're actually playing to the people that are buying the information that are on these polls. It's not free, and so they're just like the news media today, John. They're trying to create controversy, create issues, create a false knowledge, not a real knowledge and basis that's there to motivate people. The truth is, I'm not going to get motivated by what I see in a poll. I'm kind of motivated or unmotivated by what I see has been happening in the past and what I suspect is going to happen in the future based on who I vote for.
Okay, very good point. Very good point. We've got to take a break here. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion here with Bob Cardoso from Robert Cardoso Live. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. All right, hey, we're back. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with my co-host, Joe Hakos. We have Bob Cardoso from Robert Cardoso Live with us, doing his weekly segment with us here. And we've been talking about this poll that came out on Fox News, and I want to just bring one other aspect of this in the conversation for the time that we have left here. Steve Benin over at MSNBC. We talk about the skewing of the polls, as Bob was saying, slanting the questions and everything else. And we're talking about, he's mentioned this poll in an article this morning he wrote that shows that Hillary Clinton with a 3-point edge over Donald Trump in a hypothetical matchup. And that's within the polls margin of error, which means dead even, dead heat, that kind of thing, okay? Now, what he goes on to say is that what the Republican Party is coming to the conclusion of this, like it's some kind of massive revelation, is that Donald Trump could actually win the election. And for some reason, that is supposed to be disheartening to the Republican Party. I assume they're referring to the establishment. But here's my question, Bob. Donald Trump, it's been verified, Donald Trump received more votes during this primary process than any other Republican primary in history. And Hillary Clinton has won, her nomination through superdelegates. She would be 100 short of pledged delegates today if it wasn't for superdelegates. Bernie Sanders won over 40% of the total vote that was cast in the Democratic primaries. Now, we're sitting here looking at this and thinking, in terms of actual numbers of voters, we can look at these polls and say, okay, they have polled a certain segment of the country, and say out of 450 people, which is the average poll today, 450 people, you get a 30-40 split or whatever it is, okay? But when you start talking about national numbers and the number of people that have shown up to vote for Trump versus the number of people that have shown to vote for Sanders and Clinton combined, and understanding that perhaps a lot of these Sanders people are now going to go home and not come out because their guy didn't win, I think the polls become even more irrelevant, because if we just look at the number of people that bother going to the polls, looks like Trump's got a pretty good shot.
You're absolutely right. He does, and here's the one place that I don't totally disagree with you, but I kind of in a minor way do with regard to Sanders voters. There are a lot of things that Donald Trump espouses that is aligned with what Sanders was wanting to do, and I'm thinking that I'll bet you at least 25-30% of those Sanders followers will move toward Trump. And the thing is that the biggest issue that's going on here is the Republican Party itself is scuttling itself with this yo-yo going back and forth. And Donald Trump is not doing himself any favors either by not being a little more diplomatic in the things that he says. But the truth is, I think we've got a long way to November. You're going to see some big changes in Donald Trump and the way he does things, and hopefully he'll start taking some advice from the pros that he's hired.
Well, I don't know at this point, because now I would minorly disagree with you.
Okay.
After watching this focus group, I talked about it earlier in the week, focus group with Megyn Kelly, and she had a cross-section of all ideologies. She had a group of about 30 people. They had Clinton supporters in there. They had Trump supporters in there. They had Sanders supporters in there. And basically the Trump supporters said this: if Trump changes the way he's doing things, he will lose. Their thing is, the thing about Trump supporters, the ones that are really out there rah-rahing for Trump, is that they don't care about his rhetoric. They don't care about him. In fact, one supporter said, I don't care if he's arrogant. He's saying what I want to say.
Well, you're right. They're saying 1 in 4. That's only 25%. The biggest thing that's hurting him right now is he's taking his own personal issues and putting them on a national stage, and they don't belong there. And I think that's what's going to hurt him in this next set of polls that come out.
Oh, yeah, I agree 100% with that. I mean, we have no problem with that. Like I said, dragging in your dirty laundry. The people, they want to know what you're going to do for the country, not, what your problem is with some judge out in Indiana, over a university that nobody's even paying any attention to.
Oh, yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm a supporter of Trump. I mean, first of all, look at my alternative. I don't have one. But I've been kind of pro Trump all along, even on your show here, because I honestly believe I need somebody, whether he's effective or not, but somebody that can really shake up the good old boy network and the system that's in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, and that's the thing that on the poll, the only thing that really made any sense to me was when they asked on this poll who could shake up the establishment even more. He came at 55%. Hillary, negative 22.
Yeah.
So
you know what? So, I mean, I just think, you've said it all along, John, that if you put Hillary in there, it's just 4 more years of Obama. And that's exactly what you're going to get. Now, I'm hearing this thing with Elizabeth Warren, and I think she's shooting to be I think they're going to try and have 2 women on the ticket in the Democratic case, and they're both going to just castigate, or at least they're going to try to castigate Donald Trump, and they think they're going to get away with it. You know what? You hear these 2 women spitting out this vitriol. They haven't seen anything yet. If Donald Trump unleashes on them, heaven help them.
Well, I know when he gave his speech today at the Freedom and Faith Foundation, and he spent a lot of the time talking about Hillary. And if he keeps up that particular narrative, as he did today, talking about her lack of ethics, about her dishonesty, about Benghazi, I mean, he mentioned he was like a bullet point list of things that he was talking about, and starting off with this, crooked Hillary. That's how he started it off, and then he just goes down this list. If he stays on message, and if the Republicans finally figure out that they're not going to get what they want, and they say, okay, let's go in, which and
that's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to keep paying attention. He hasn't said anything about these drones that were in her emails. That was absolutely top secret information that she sent out in emails. He never mentioned it once. Instead of saying that she's not qualified, or she's I can't say what I was going to say, but basically, what he ought to be doing is picking up all these little tidbits that are absolutely facts that are sitting out there, and not play into this psychological card that Hillary and Warren obviously want to place against him. And it's just give the facts. Just give the absolute facts. She'll kill herself.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. All right, we're out of time, Bob. I want to give you a moment to plug your show.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much. You changed the commercial and gave me the proper time, Monday through Friday, from 3 to 5. So, that was a nice effort. I appreciate it.
Well, we got to rewrite the commercial because I had to kind of patch it in there, and we lose the music in the background. It's driving Joe crazy. So
it's nice to know Joe's on my side. Anyway, I want to remind everybody that I'm on the air every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And you can the best way to listen to my show is get my app. It's absolutely free. You can get it for Android, Windows, or for Apple. And just search Robert Cardoza Live. It's right there. Download it. It's free. Tell your friends about it. And that way you can be listening to my show right after John's show, and we don't interfere with each other.
All right, my friend. Well, I want to wish you a good weekend. Our wishes to your situation with your daughter out there. I know she's ill. We hope that she's okay.
We got some ongoing challenges, but thank you very much.
Yeah, our prayers are with you, and we'll talk to you next week then.
All right, buddy. You take care. Have a great weekend.
All right. That was Bob Cardoza from Robert Cardoza Live. And we are getting ready we're coming up here at the top of the hour here. And we have a new Edwards notebook. I got the latest one from him today. Got it patched in here. And then we're going to pay some bills. And next hour, we're going to get back into the discussion that we began yesterday on Obama's job record. And what that entails, because that is what you're going to see should Hillary Clinton make it to the White House. It's going to be Obama version 3.0, and it's going to be rehashed of the same. The only thing that will change is the race card will be the second card played, and the gender card will be the first card played. And other than that, everything is going to be the same. It's going to be big government, bigger government, and it's going to be all for the good of the common man and woman. So we'll get into that next hour. Any parting shots here, Joe, before we go to break?
No. I have Hillary Clinton is a criminal. I'll say it.
Okay, all right.
So I'll just leave that one there. Hillary's a criminal, should be in jail.
All right. Crooked Hillary is crooked. And we know that. Everybody else knows that. Even the ones that want to vote for know that. I guess it doesn't make any difference in the minds of way too many people in America today. We'll be right back, guys. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
As the European Union goes, so Obama and Hillary want to take America. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, it is common knowledge that President Obama, Hillary Clinton, and others want the United States to be more like Europe. Not the stable, reasonably prosperous Europe, but civility, stable nations that are allies of a strong and prosperous United States of America, but rather more like the European Union of today, where nations like Sweden, Germany, and sections of Great Britain are overrun with grossly inhumane Muslim brutes who are literally teeming into once very prosperous and civilized nations and are plundering them through rape, beatings, and destruction of property. While the government stand by and do very little to protect the civilized people from ravenous, dog-like Muslims who wreak havoc for pleasure.
You know?
The reason? The governments don't protect the people of Europe is the same stupid reason the San Jose, California Police Department did not protect Donald Trump's supporters from pro-illegal immigrant anti-American thugs who, like Obama and the leaders of the European Union, are using the Muslim barbarians to disrupt and fundamentally change civilized nations with varying degrees of freedom and prosperity into poor, dependent societies, much like was done to African nations in the 1960s via the communist movement. I'm Ron Edwards.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360.
Folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Akos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Akos.
Hey, we're back. Believe it or not, it's that time. Hour 2 coming to you live right now. The Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. And I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Akos. And hey, I want to just, if I can, just say something here. When we were talking about just before the end of the hour here, And we were talking about, I was mentioning Donald Trump's speech today at the Freedom and Faith Foundation.
Youth? I got Nature's Youth. And their premier anti-aging.
Oh, what's that? Hey, what? Oh, okay. The commercial was not supposed to play there. Okay. I thought, Joe, I thought you were mumbling in the background there.
No. Mumble. No,
okay.
Me.
All right. Anyway, one of the things that he mentioned in the speech about Hillary Clinton, and he was going down his bullet point list of what we could expect out of a Clinton administration.
Okay.
And one of the things he pointed out was he got to talking about the Supreme Court justices, about what would happen if she was allowed to appoint a Supreme Court justice or even more, because we know whoever's the next president is going to at least do a couple more. I mean, some of these guys are older than dirt. Some of them are ready to go. And he pointed out the Second Amendment. He said, I guarantee you that if she appoints a Supreme Court judge, the Second Amendment is gone. And lo and behold, and one of the things we mentioned yesterday was about how left the DNC platform was going to go because of the showing of Bernie Sanders. How much ground will he be able to make with his Democratic Socialist agenda? And Joe, sure enough, shoots me this comment here. Why don't you share that, Joe, on the DNC platform committee member?
Yeah, just 3 hours into the first day of the Democratic platform drafting committee, the DNC platform committee member Bonnie Schaefer of Florida, reacting to Mothers Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, said, "I do believe you're absolutely correct. Not just keeping the guns out of mentally ill people and criminals, but I really don't personally think anyone should have a gun. I mean, that's just my own philosophy. Nothing is ever solved when you have a gun in your hand except the worst possible scenario." So, yep, they're going to go after the Second Amendment, and they're going to put it in their plank on a Democratic convention this July.
Yeah, let's just examine that just for a few moments here. Since we're in our short segment, we can do that in the time we have here. Nothing is ever solved when you have a gun in your hand except the worst possible scenario. Well, if you don't have a gun in your hand while you're fighting somebody who's trying to kill you, the worst possible scenario is you get killed.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the kind of person that probably is either behind a fence somewhere, a gated community, or has her own protection.
Yeah. Now, I mean, let's just think about that. The person who has the gun, I guess the perception is that if nobody had guns, nobody would be shot. Okay. Well, that may be true. That may be true. So then, I guess the next object that we would need to eliminate are knives. Maybe we would need to eliminate poison.
Yeah, or maybe we need to eliminate Democrats, because she goes on to say, I think it's disgusting that we in this country have such lax gun control. I think the Republican Party is really remiss in putting down and setting out boundaries. I'd like to send her to Chicago, where she can see all the gun laws in the world is not helping that place.
Yeah, and if we're worried about death, let me just lay this on you here. You know, while the 4-year-old boy was fell into the gorilla cage.
Yeah.
Remember that? Okay.
Yeah.
And it says there's a blog that came out by a guy named Matt Walsh, and he says, you know, while everybody was crying about this ape being killed, this gorilla being killed, 125,000 babies were murdered.
Yeah.
With abortion. So maybe we have to worry more about the violence against the unborn than the violence that is happening across our country. By the way, mostly by people who have guns illegally to begin with.
Yeah.
There's the point. I've always thought the argument for gun control is redundant, because the more laws you make, it's just more laws that people are going to break that want guns. You're not going to solve the gun problem with laws. It isn't. How are you going to solve the gun problem is that you have a bigger gun than the other person. That's really what it is, I think, how it's going to work. But this idea that, if we just eliminate guns, let's go back to the days of John Lennon. What if we had a war and nobody came? You know, I mean, the reasoning here, this goes back to my very first thought at the beginning of the show. This idea that we can somehow create this utopian world free from all hatred and all violence and all things bad. It isn't going to happen. If you don't have a gun and you want to kill somebody, you'll find a way to kill them. You know, and I'm sorry, I just can't buy into this argument one way or the other.
Let's listen to Hillary herself talk about it, okay?
All right.
I believe that an individual's right to bear arms is a constitutional right, that it's not linked to service in a militia.
For most of our history, there was a nuanced reading of the Second Amendment until the decision by the late Justice Scalia. And there was no argument until then that localities and states and the federal government had a right, as we do with every amendment, to impose reasonable regulations. So I believe we can have common sense gun safety measures consistent with the Second Amendment.
But that's not what I asked. I said, do you believe that their conclusion that an individual's right to bear arms is a constitutional right?
If it is a constitutional right, then it, like every other constitutional right, is subject to reasonable regulations.
Again, if it is a constitutional right, well, it's in the freaking Constitution, Hillary. It is a constitutional right. There's no if about it. What are we going to parse words again? And what's the definition of is?
Yeah, and the other thing, one other comment here before we go to break here. The other comment I would make is she makes a reference to the fact that nobody questioned the rights of states and everybody else to make some kind of regulations until Anthony Scalia made some kind of ruling on it or offered some kind of opinion on it. Well, until that time, nobody was trying to take away our guns. So, yeah, he made a ruling and he did an argument. He presented an opinion based on something that, once again, was not an issue before, but the left made it an issue because they thought they could use it for political advantage, and so there was a ruling made on it. So the idea you're going to say, well, did Scalia, is he the one that went out there and said, hey, let's have a debate over gun control? No, it was the left that did that.
Yeah, well, the Fast and Furious gun-running scheme that Obama started, Hillary Clinton will do the same sort of underhanded tactics, and we'll lose other Border Patrol agents like Brian Terry with the stupidity that they're trying to pull. She does want to get rid of the Second Amendment. She wants to make sure that no one has any guns. And just like her friends at the DNC Rules Committee, yes, they're all trying to do that. So how do we stop this? Well, getting rid of Democrats would be one thing. But since they're not going to allow us to do that, then we need to have more people in power than them.
Yeah, and we need to get those Supreme Court justices replaced, and let's get back to some common sense. Yeah, let's talk about common sense constitutionalism. We got to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to get into continuing our discussion we started yesterday on the Obama record on the economy. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Time for Moments of Madness. Today on Moments of Madness. Now that Hillary's $12,000 Armani jacket has been stored away with more concern for its security than her email server, we can take a presumptive look at what her campaign as well as the DNC platform on what she will run will look like. Providing, of course, plans do not change from running for office to being fitted for an orange jumpsuit complete with her own monogrammed inmate number. Bernie Sanders' strong finish in the last of the national primaries, he won Montana and North Dakota, finished close everywhere else, and was only blown out in New Mexico, has earned him a secret meeting with Barack Obama. One we can presume will seek to find common ground on how open the DNC should be in their evolving transformation of the United States of America from republicanism with its greedy capitalistic economic system to the Marxist wealth redistribution model. Obama envisions utilizing creative destruction, the transferring of independent wealth to the coffers of the central planners. The GOP platform will be no less interesting. Dealing with the fallout of Donald Trump's populist tsunami, one that shows no signs of letting up, the GOP establishment is plotting their survival course by attempting to prove the only attire Trump is fit to wear is a straitjacket, complete with accessorized restraining straps. Their platform also promises to be an experiment in evolutionary monetarism as they paint their planks Obama blue while trying to convince us it is still Reagan red. So intent are they to destroy Trump, they are still trying to sell the idea an independent candidate of their choice can once again dupe their base into supporting their false narrative of limited government can only be achieved through unlimited compromise. Here's the madness. One thing we can be sure of. We won't have to worry about either side taking time to articulate how their respective positions are going to reduce poverty, restore racial tranquility, and save the world from that nasty JV team in the Middle East. Paul Ryan's latest attempt at putting together a blueprint of recovery, this time entitled A Better Way. Remember the path toward prosperity? Yeah, neither do I. Prefaces his rehashed plan with a benevolent scolding of those who believe complaining plays no part in finding a solution, as if to imply identifying and debating the problems we face today are irrelevant in the process of determining their solutions. We can complain about it, our current direction, but that won't change things, Speaker Ryan begins, and he's right. As far as we can tell, our complaints have fallen on the deaf ears of him and his cronies for decades now. The Democrats, not much there either. Continue to lie, spin, and deceive their base into believing the only thing that has inhibited Obama's grand plan of transformation is time and seats on the Supreme Court of the United States bench. I wouldn't be surprised if their platform consists of one sentence, see previous administration. So what can we expect in a race that both sides claim is crucial to our survival, but shows all signs point to populist rhetoric embraced by an ignorant electorate? We can expect to be further nurtured and exploited at our expense by both sides. From the left, we can expect to be inundated with verbal gaffes elevated to policy positions by the media, racial and gender tensions to be played as the defining factors in job qualifications as well as patriotic indicators by their nominee. Scandals as nothing more than a justifiable means to an end, and of course the premise of socio-economic equality at the expense of American exceptionalism, which preaches opportunity over entitlement. From the other side, we can expect rhetorical unity to hide fear and disdain for those of us who have placed them in office. We can expect the same promises made to us repackaged to appeal to those who historically support the likes of Obama and Clinton. Join us so we can stop the Democrats' destruction of America. Give us the chance to lie to you. Is there a bright side? Perhaps. Hillary Clinton speaking on election night, once again adorned in her Armani jacket, announcing she has won the election but will spend her first 100 days trying to avoid having to replace it with that orange jumpsuit sounds good. Or breaking news, the GOP establishment folks are lining up and jumping out of their Plaza Suite windows. Either scenario has got to be the silver lining on the storm that is quickly descending upon us. This reminds me, by the way, I need a new umbrella. This is John Matthews for Moments of Madness. Hey, we're back, and I hope you enjoyed that moment of madness. And I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. So let's get into continuing the discussion we began yesterday. We're commentating. We're offering commentary on Barack Obama's speech given last week in Eckhart, Indiana, Concord Community High School. And the reason we're focusing on Obama at this point is because Obama is a preview of what you're going to get with Hillary. There's no doubt about it. The woman isn't smart enough to form her own policies. Never has been. She's a good, in the words of Dianne Feinstein, she's a good soldier. You know, she knows how to get out there and trot around, and we know that her only attempt to really do anything significant was when she was first lady, and she failed miserably at trying to get what is now Obamacare passed. Had just failed miserably at that, because then we had a Congress that had a spine that was able to stand up to her, willing to stand up to her. We don't have that any longer. But we were talking about yesterday when we started this, two main points that Barack Obama was trying to get out, or is trying to get out, and I'm sure will continue to try to get out as he campaigns around the country with Hillary Clinton. Because it's not about Hillary Clinton. Don't think for 1 minute that Barack Obama's out there trying to help Hillary Clinton. He's out there trying to solidify his legacy and use his favorability rating to get people to vote for Hillary. He's trying to drag Hillary in spite of her lack of qualifications and corruptness and everything else. It's just like, she's my buddy, vote for her, that kind of thing. He made 2 points yesterday in this speech, or not. We covered the 2 points he made in the speech yesterday. America's economy is not just better than it was 8 years ago. It is the strongest, most durable economy in the world. That's point number one. That kind of reiterates what Joe mentioned earlier when Ronald Reagan asked that question, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Okay, that's pretty easy question to answer if you're a working American. It isn't, and it's probably just as easy if you're a non-working American, meaning you're of that welfare class, third, fourth generation welfare class. Yeah, it's probably better off for you too, but at our expense. Point number two, we can make it stronger and expand opportunity for even more people, but we have to be honest about what our real challenges are, and we've got to make some smart decisions going forward. Of course, the real challenges are those of us who don't agree with Barack Obama's policies. That's the challenge. How do they overcome us? How do they eliminate us? How do they ostracize us, label us, impact, and perhaps even eliminate us from society? All right, now, I think where we were at yesterday, we were talking about how he mentioned that he had just been in office 3 weeks when the Great Recession since the Great Depression hit. And we were losing 800,000 jobs a month. The auto industry was about to go under. The families were losing their savings and health insurance, and they were in danger of losing their homes, which we mentioned was due to the work of Bill Clinton during his administration, the expansion of the Redevelopment and Reinvestment Act, which he used Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae to guarantee subprime loans. And that all came to a crashing halt in the latter part of 2007. All right. Is that where we left off at, Joe? I think that was...
Could be. Yeah. I think that was part of it. I mean, just remember our friend Barney Frank, who was defending Fred and Fannie out there and saying, yeah, they're solid, they're upstanding, they're good to go. And they were about as solid as wet noodles. Right.
And remember, never forget this. The reason John McCain, I think, lost to Barack Obama was when this housing bubble burst. He stood up there like a complete and total establishment idiot and said the economy is fine. I mean, everybody knew. It seemed like everybody knew it was crashing except him, and this is the guy that was going to lead our country. Whereas Barack Obama got up there, and even though his plan sucked, he had a plan. Yeah, this is what we're going to do. And lo and behold, people grabbed onto that, hope and change, and that's what they grabbed onto. And they bought it for 8 years. Now, I know where we left off here. The president, okay, I'm going to read here what he said here. He says, we decided, he's talking about how they were able to retool everything. Now, I'm going to put some of this in context for you. We decided to invest in job training so that folks who lost their jobs could retool. We decided to invest in things like high-tech manufacturing and clean energy and infrastructure so that entrepreneurs wouldn't just bring back the jobs that we had lost, but create a new and better jobs. And folks who had lost work from the construction industry because of the housing market had collapsed could go back to work rebuilding America. Let's talk about job training so that people who lost their jobs could retool. I don't know, I cannot recollect anything that was going on out there in terms of job training. Now, I do know that in the past, there have been job training centers created out there in urban communities that are nothing more than government fund channels. And what I mean by that is somebody opens up some kind of job training center. The government gives them money through grants. That money is funneled into and back to the war chest of the candidates or the officials that gave them that money in the first place. And
so are you saying that you don't think that this job training thing ever really got off the ground? It was really that's something they wanted to do, but it never really helped the American worker who got displaced, had their jobs displaced or whatever.
No, like I said, unless you consider being retrained as a physicist to become a Walmart greeter.
Okay. Because reason why I bring up that, reason why I asked the question, because if you recall from our TPP discussion, the labor agreement and the trade agreement they went to, if American workers become displaced by that, they're going to establish retraining centers for these people, and they're going to help them get back on their feet due to the TPP.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That
was the. Is that the TPA part of that?
Yeah, whatever. It's all the same thing. I don't give a crap what you want to call it. It's that Trans-Pacific. It's that labor agreement that they're going to shove down our throat once again before Obama leaves office, because our friends in the Republican Party that's in power right now, they want it just as bad. And let's remind people that on the 23rd of this month, our friends over in Britain are going to have a vote on whether they're going to stay in the European Union or leave the European Union. And it comes down to a lot of the same stuff we're just talking about right now.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of people over in the European theater that are not too pleased with this TPP.
Yes, because they have administrators that are making decisions. And if you get displaced, we'll have a training program for you to go into.
Yeah, let's translate that word administrator. Establishment types. These are the people making the decisions, the establishment types, the people that stand to make billions of dollars, whether it fails or not.
Yeah, worse yet, unelected establishment types.
Right. Okay. Now, he goes on to say, we decided to invest in things like high-tech manufacturing and clean energy and infrastructure. I don't know what high-tech manufacturing was talking about, but I do know what the clean energy was. The clean energy was like Solyndra and a couple of the other companies out there that received, in some cases, millions of dollars to start up plants that are now closed, that are not functioning, that are not working. Okay? Now, infrastructure. Infrastructure is public sector. Now, you got to understand what he means by that. Infrastructure, that is the key to Keynesian economics, is infrastructure. Everything is based on infrastructure. Building highways and bridges and schools and things like that, using government money to build things that, as Barack Obama and his cronies tell us, we couldn't function without.
Yeah, one of the proposals they want to make is do a highway system on par with Eisenhower highway system, the interstate highway system that Eisenhower started. But only this time they want to have charging stations for hybrid vehicles, so they can every so often they can go get their vehicle charged and make it like that. So rather than, hey, why don't you make these cars more better for people, that people actually want to buy them, so you can actually go more than 300 miles or whatever on a charge, and you don't have to take all day to have it charged. Why does the American taxpayer have to fund this?
Yeah, and by the way, these cars, if you've ever seen most of them, we call them matchbox cars. You ever get in an accident in one of these things, it'll take a miracle of God for you not to get crushed.
Yeah, physics is not fun, and yes, you're going to lose.
Okay, now, the idea being, though, is by creating these high-tech manufacturing and clean energy and rebuilding infrastructure, that somehow entrepreneurs, which is code word for private sector, wouldn't just bring back jobs that had been lost, but create new and better jobs.
Well, this is funny, John. It makes me ask this question. How come we're talking last month now, how come in May people outside the labor force jumped to 664,000 people left the job market?
Right, and we've had another increase of food stamp recipients.
Yeah, how's this happened, John? If all their stuff has worked, it's been really great.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess only maybe on paper. I can only imagine that what they do is they have their models and they have their calculations, and they just say, okay, if we do this, this is what should happen, and that's where they go to get their information. And they're like the weather people, the climate change people. We call them the weather people. The weather people who build their models, and if the model doesn't fit the narrative, well, they just change the models to get the narrative to fit.
Yeah. Yeah, change your data. You can make it fit.
Yeah, you make it fit, okay? Now, he ends this little blurb by saying, by almost every economic measure, America is better off than when I came here at the beginning of my presidency. Wow.
Well, I think we just said a couple that refute that.
Yeah, and we're going to continue right after we come back from our break here at the bottom of the hour. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get to Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
And we're back. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And we're talking about the job speech that Barack Obama gave us last week, touting all the success of that he has brought to America through his policies and agenda. How many jobs he's created, and how he has saved the country, and the country is much better off now than when he took office. And we're just trying to put some substance behind a lot of what he's been telling us out there. And I wanted to. Joe's just shooting me all kinds of stuff here, and I want you to read this, Joe. Starting with this clip, this thing you sent me on the Bureau of Labor Statistics, because I think rather than try to explain it because of the numbers involved and everything, we should just read it verbatim.
Okay, sure. Okay, so this comes right out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It has two principal employment surveys. They sent out a household survey, which interviews workers, and then they sent out a payroll survey, which interviews businesses. Right, so you have two surveys there, and both show a tepid job growth in May. So we're talking last month, okay? And Obama made the speech this month. And he's touting how great everything is. The payroll survey, which is the business side of the reported, employers created just 38,000 net new jobs last month. And almost all that occurred in the healthcare sector and then in government.
All right, let me interrupt you there, Joe. The word there we're looking at, net new jobs. That means the number of jobs left over with new jobs created and jobs lost, right? That's what a net is. If we're saying we're going to take 38,000, there were 38,000 more jobs created than lost. Am I reading that right?
Net jobs is 38,000 jobs. That's it. Period.
Okay, and what I mean is when I say net, normally in figuring and accounting, you have gross and you have net. Gross is before you make adjustments. And net is what you have after those adjustments are made.
Well, net to me says this is basically all there is.
Yeah, exactly. It does. That's exactly what it means. But I wanted to emphasize the fact that not only were there's perhaps more new jobs made, but there were also jobs that were lost. That's what I'm getting at here. 38,000 net jobs mean that there has to be a number that is put out there to give them a net. There has to be a gross. And so the way you get the gross is you take the total number of jobs created and you take the total number of jobs lost, and you end up with 38,000 more created than lost, and that would be a net.
Okay.
Maybe I made it too complicated.
Yes, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you certainly did.
But the point is, 38,000 new jobs is not a lot. That's the point.
Yeah, it's not. Exactly. It's the point. And basically, it said most other sectors showed slight gains or experienced job losses, and then temporary help service employment contracted by 21,000 jobs. But temporary jobs are often an indicator how future hiring patterns. Employers typically cut back on temporary employees before letting regular staff go. Additional payroll survey, and again, this is the businesses, the employers, showed employers created 59,000 fewer jobs than previously estimated in March and April. So they estimated in March and April that they would create almost 60,000 jobs, more jobs, and that didn't happen. There was 59,000 less. So here's one that's really going to get you here. Part-time employment. The number of Americans employed part-time for economic reasons, and this was an economic speech by Obama, the number of Americans employed part-time for economic reasons jumped by almost 500,000. In May, many more workers who wanted full-time jobs could not find full-time jobs.
There you go. That's the idea. Now, we put this within the context of how government defines job creation. Job creation is not necessarily a company or business creating a new position in which they fill. It can be rehiring a position that used to exist, or it could be taking people on. Let's say a company decides, we need to reduce the number of full-time employees that we have, so that we don't have to supply Obamacare.
Yeah, exactly. Why would we want to do that, John?
Yeah. Okay, so we take a 40-hour-a-week position and we create 2 20-hour positions. Okay, and we just split the work up that way. And now what we can do is, now the government would say, oh, another job has been created. But it's only a part-time job, as Joe is signifying here. We have 2 people working in a part-time job that at one time was covered or being filled with 1 employee doing it full-time. This is how employers break this stuff down. That's what I'm seeing. I mean, I just know as my years as a manager hiring that we did stuff like this, where you say, okay, let's take a job position, and let's take some of that job and we delegate that authority, that description to somebody else that's in the plant. Okay, we say this function here and this function here, we're going to take away from this job, and we're going to put it over here on Joe, who's been working here for umpty number of years, and
make less money though.
Yeah, and he can handle the responsibility. Or let's look at my scenario. Hey, let me give you a personal testimony here. I was an operations manager. The company came out and decided, because the OEM meltdown, the company came out and said, we don't need operation managers in these branches that are not keeping up with the flow of business. We're going to delegate the operations manager's position in terms of management. We're going to give that responsibility over to the branch manager. And then the duties that the operation manager did, which was did billing and oversight of the payables and receivables, we'll divvy that up between the actual payable and receivable clerks. And the branch manager will oversee that. So what they've done is they've redelegated a job description and been able to eliminate the job. Now, the people that receive that job, that have gotten that job description, are people that normally would only come in and work 20, 25 hours a week. So they're just saying, okay, instead of going out and selling for 25 hours a week, you're going to sell for 20 hours a week, and 5 hours you're going to do the billing. That's how that does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah, exactly. It's all to cut costs.
Right. It's all hokey
the bottom line.
It's all hokey doke.
Hokey doke, yeah.
Okay.
Well, and understand these temporary employees or part-time employees. Yes, it has a lot to do with Obamacare.
Right. Yeah, and that's another important point. A lot of people would just go out and say, we only need temporary help. You'll contract somebody for a month to 6 months to do a job that needs to be done, which after 6 months won't need to be done. And so that's what the temporary jobs are. That's hiring agencies. That's going out, job agencies like Apple One, places like that you come in and you fill a position for a day, a week, a month, or whatever, and then you're gone.
And let's talk about what Obama's really done in his economic plan here. Let's talk about this a little bit. In 2015, we have 2,353 regulations just in 2015. Since Obama's been in office, and since he took office 2009, 20,642 regulations. And some of them are restricted access to credit and under hundreds of rules unleashed by the Dodd-Frank bill. Fewer health care choices, higher medical costs from the Affordable Care Act, or that's Obamacare. How about reduced internet investment and innovation under the network neutrality rules dictated by the FCC?
There we go. Yeah, now we're bringing the net neutrality comes into this. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, exactly. These are things. This is the environment that Obama's created. Mm-hmm. Does this sound like it's really helping?
Yeah.
As he's touting it out there, and hey, Hillary's going to do the same things for you.
Yeah, maybe even put it on steroids.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to complicate it. I was trying to put some living examples behind the numbers so that people could relate to how does this work? How do you come up with these numbers in terms of like the temporary staffing? Yeah. It says here, like you're pointing out here, employers typically cut back on temporary employees before they let regular staff go. What an office might do. Again, if you had somebody coming in every day doing receivables, what you do is to say, okay, we only have somebody come in 2 days a week and do receivables. So we'll hire somebody on a temporary contract to do that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about benefits or anything else.
It costs them less money in the long run.
It costs you less money. And you don't have all the other stuff that you have to worry about, health care and workman's compensation and all the other crap, because that's handled through the hiring agencies. All right?
Now, we got a break, dude.
Yeah, we got a break here. We got a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. All right, hey, we're back. And you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. Want to remind you, hey, over the course of the weekend, take the time to visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and you can pick up this show. If the numbers that we were just talking about kind of muddled things up here the way I was trying to illustrate it or give you some substance behind the numbers, take the time to listen to it again, because it does make sense if you listen to it carefully. That's conservativesyndicate.net. Now, I want to jump down here from talking about what Obama says he has done to how he now ties this into the election. Okay, he goes on after he gets done, tooting his own horn, telling us how great everything is. He makes some jokes about the fact that he barely won in Eckhart, Indiana in 2008, and he lost in 2012. He lost that area, I guess. And he said, but I'm not here looking for votes. Ah, ha, ha, everybody laughs, okay? He says, I'm here because I care deeply as a citizen about making sure we sustain and build on all the work that communities like yours have done to bring America back over these last 7.5 years. And I came here precisely because this county votes Republican. That's one of the reasons I came here. Because if the economy is really what's driving this election, then it's going to be voters like you that have to decide between two different, very different visions of what's going to help strengthen our middle class. And you're going to have to make that decision. Now, he gets a little bit blunt here, but I want to get to the point here as to what you're going to hear. This is, like I said, this is a preview of what we're going to hear during the Clinton campaign, because she can't run on her own record. So let me be as straight as I can about the choice of economic policies that you're going to face. And I'm going to start with a story that not every Republican, but most Republican candidates up and down the ticket are selling. And it goes something like this. And I think this is pretty fair, and if you don't, then you can look it up. So their basic story is America's working class, America's middle class, families like yours, have been victimized by a big, bloated federal government run by a bunch of left-wing elitists like me. And the government is taking your hard-earned tax dollars and it's giving them to freeloaders and welfare cheats. And we're strangling businesses with endless regulations. And this federal government is letting immigrants and foreigners steal whatever jobs Obamacare hasn't killed. No, I'm being serious here. I guess the asterisk here that there was laughter, okay? I'm being serious here. I mean, that's a story that's been told. And I haven't turned on Fox News or listened to conservative talk radio yet today, but I've turned them on enough to know over these past 7.5 years to know I'm not exaggerating in terms of their story. No, you're not. Because our story is true. That's the story they tell. You can hear it from just about every member of Congress on the other side of the aisle. And instead of telling you what they're for, they define their economic agenda by what they're against. And that's mainly being against me. And their basic message is anti-government, anti-immigrant, anti-trade, and let's face it, it's anti-change. There is this the preface that you will find on the Hillary Clinton campaign model.
Yep. I can see videos now. Of that exact monologue out of Hillary Clinton's mouth.
Right. And he just named everything that we do talk about.
Everything that's absolutely true.
Right. And this is brilliant liberal speak. To basically tell you the truth and then tell you that it's a lie.
Yeah, exactly. Now, exactly that. So let's talk about this. He says overregulation. He said myth number 2 is the notion that my administration has killed jobs through overregulation. Well, he's going to have, there's already 2,000 proposed rules and regulations for this year alone, over 2,000. Between him and George Bush, under the two administrations combined, there are new rules added up to $176 billion in annual regulatory costs on Americans.
Right. Well, let's look at taking hard-earned tax dollars and giving them to freeloaders and welfare cheats. What is Obamacare if not that?
Yes, absolutely, because he talks about it and he says, hey, we're going to give you, you're going to get shopped around for health care. If premiums account but in Indiana, who's your shopped around Obamacare and healthcare costs $75 a month less for millions of Americans who buy in healthcare. They get tax credits.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for. Tax credits to help them pay for. In other words, those tax credits are going to go away very soon, and it's still going to cost you more money.
And let's say that. Let's emphasize something. In most cases, the people getting tax credits are people that are not paying taxes to begin with. People really need to understand this. This is not about and I know this. I learned this last year. With my own tax return. We, Lourdes and I, for the first time in, 30 some odd years, earned less money than we've ever earned before because we're both retired now. Okay, I've got a pension. She got Social Security, and we've been living on that. Fortunately, our mortgage is paid, so our expenses are minimal. We don't owe debt, so we're okay. We do okay. But last year, I got a tax return that was higher than my last year in the workforce, and what I found out was I was given tax credits. I actually got taxes back that I actually didn't even pay. That's what a tax credit does. Okay, remember George Bush giving everybody $600 or something like that. Okay, so people, and that's how they're trying to get. That's how they're trying to justify. Remember we talked last week about the California out here wanting to give health care to illegal immigrants and offering them tax credits should they pay for it. Yeah. And we're saying, well, they can't pay for it. They can't make enough money to pay for it. And because they can't pay for it, but they'll give them the tax credit anyway. So it's basically refunding money that nobody ever spent. And where does that come from? It comes from the ones that have paid the taxes. That's how it works. Okay, so we are giving money to freeloaders and welfare cheats. And we are giving our hard-earned money, and Obamacare is a perfect example of that. So we're out of time for the week, guys. This is Friday. We'll be back on the air on Monday like we always are. 3 o'clock out here on the West Coast, 6 o'clock on the East Coast, and like I said, prime time everywhere, somewhere in the world. And we're glad you took the time to join us this week. We hope you got something out of this. We're going to start making it, I think, more of a point of talking about things that nobody else is talking about. We may touch on the mainstream stuff, the polls and things like that, but I want to start getting more into topics that nobody else is talking about because that's what we try to do here on the show. We've kind of gotten off the track a little bit.
Well, I mean, we try to tie some stuff together, like the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement and the European Union vote, the Brit exit vote, that kind of stuff. It does tie together, and these globalists want us all to be one big happy family. But thanks, everybody, for being here tonight and throughout the week. So that's really great. God love you all. Okay, God love you all. We'll be back on the air. Remember, visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. We'll see you, or we'll talk to you next week. God bless you.
Guide me to who you want me to help. Raise up more that will call upon your name. Raise up those that love you and seek you and trust you. Raise them up, Lord, raise them up. Lord, we need a generation of believers who are not ashamed of the gospel. We need an army of believers, Lord, that hate to be lukewarm and will stand on your word above all else. Raise them up, Lord, raise them up. I pray for unity among those that love you. I pray that you open their eyes so that they can see your truth, Lord. I pray for your hand of protection and guidance. Raise up a generation, Lord, that will take light into this world, that will not compromise when under pressure, that will not cower, Lord, when others fall away. Raise them up, Lord, that they will proclaim that there is salvation in the name of Jesus Christ. Raise up warriors, Lord, who will fight on their knees, who will worship you with their whole hearts, Lord. Lord, call us to battle, that we may proclaim you King of kings and Lord of lords. I pray these things with all my heart. Raise them up, Lord, raise them up.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all of our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's the conservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best and uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, signing off until next time, right here on the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.